This morning, I am delighted to have as my guest Travis Wallace. I'm going to tell a funny story about you, Travis, the first funny story. Travis didn't know it, but he was in 2020. He was our Rookie of the Year. And we were giving out awards, and someone had apparently hauled you into the place where we were getting awards.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in the back row, and all of a sudden I see, as the awards are being announced, I see you starting to walk out the back door.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, he doesn't know that he's going to get this award. So I remember kind of shanghaiing you and saying, no, you can't go.
Yeah.
You have to stay.
Yeah.
That was really our first contact together when I wouldn't leave you, let you leave the room.
Yeah, I had a show and I'm like, I got to get to my show in. It's taking longer than expected. So
yeah,
that's funny. Yeah.
So you were the Rookie of the Year that year.
Yeah.
Tell me what you did your Rookie of the Year. So I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, but I think about that Rookie of the Year. What did you do that first year that made us choose you?
Yeah. So first of all, Travis Wallace with James & Sotheby's International Realty. I'm on the Jackie Mack and Moore team out of the Evanston office. So really a little background about myself. So I graduated college in 2018, and I was working in corporate America. It's actually pretty funny. I graduated in May, and I had no job for 3 weeks. And I'm like, how do people sit at home and just watch TV? It's like, that's insane. And of course, you're applying to jobs and all this kind of stuff. So I got a job. And the second day, I'm like, I just can't do this.
What was the job?
I worked operations for a recruiting firm.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, it was a great company, like great managers, great people. But even in college, I did internships, and I just knew corporate America wasn't for me. But you're young, you have loans, you have bills, you don't want to be sitting at home, so you take a job. So 2 days in, I'm like, I just can't do this. So I emailed a mentor I had in Evanston, and she connected me with Jackie Mack, my now team lead. So I sat down with her, had lunch, kind of picked her brain, and how did you get started in real estate? What's your day look like? What do you like about it? What do you hate about it? All this kind of stuff.
Those were the questions she asked you?
I asked her.
You asked her?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I kind of I knew the right questions to ask just based on like prior experience and a little training I had. But like, she gave me a really good insight on it, and she connected me with people who were inspectors, appraisers, developers, so I can kind of see different aspects of the business and talk with them as well. But nothing really interesting to me. So then a couple weeks later, she emailed me. She's like, "Hey, do you want to join my team?" And basically, I was still working in corporate America at that time, and I think it was August 2018. I was like softly, her showing agent, so I could like open the house, turn on the lights, prep the home for a show, and then stand in the corner and keep my mouth shut because once I wasn't licensed, so I couldn't say anything.
Right.
So I did that for a couple months. Also got my license. I was studying for a couple months. I was like, I don't want to pay for this exam more than once. So I'm going to pass the first time around. So I passed, I think it was February 2019. Quit my job cold turkey March 2019. Went on a little vacation with friends, and then came back and went full force. And from there, it was a pretty full day. So I knew it was a battle in real estate to get started and kind of make money. So what I would do is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. I'd be in the office. So one, I wanted to be in the office so that I could. This was pre-COVID, so I wanted to be able to ask questions, interact with people, see how people actually ran their business and had conversations with clients in certain situations. So being in the office was key for me.
And hold on a minute, because I want to note that, because you're not the first person who has told me that's what they did when they started.
Yeah.
And I think how critical, and COVID hurt agents with this, I think, because they couldn't be in the office anymore. That's on-the-job training. Yeah. And I think that's the part that we're missing a lot with even now new agents, because we don't go back to they don't go to the office meetings as often as they used to. And I can teach you lots of things.
Yeah.
I cannot give you that on-the-job training.
Yeah.
Because that on-the-job training is someone says, did you know the house straight over there floods? Do you know they have this over there? Do you know, don't ever go in the basement down there in that house over there.
Yeah.
It's the things that no one ever writes down.
Yeah.
You just have to hang out. Yes.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Yes.
100%. And, within the office, I think we also had an office in Winnetka, where we met at that time. So I emailed my Evanston office and Wilmette office, and I'm like, hey, I'm a new agent. If you need any help with showings, inspections, really anything, like I'm your go-to guy. One, I just wanted to have experience, so when I had my first client, I knew exactly what to do. And also just to help other people in the office, because again, if they're busy, have an extra, pair of hands, that was awesome. And Jackie Mack, she's like, go for it. The more experience, the better. So she's been awesome.
That's the second thing that you just said that I've heard from people who get a good start, fast start. One of my favorite agents on earth when I was in Alaska came to me one day and said, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
I have no idea what to do anymore. I said, you have to do 30 open houses in 45 days. She said, you can't do that. There aren't enough weekends in there. I said, who says open houses have to be on the weekend?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, fine, she said, because if you can't tell me what to do, I'm going to quit. She came to me at about house 30. She's right around at the end, and she said, okay, I don't need to do anymore, but I'm going to finish because you told me I had to finish, and I knew she was going to be okay then. She said, but once people saw me in the office willing to work, they changed the way they looked at me. They changed the way they viewed me. They changed everything. My whole perspective started to change. I just didn't really know until you told me what I had to do, how to integrate into the office and that sort of thing. So Jackie Mack was good luck to you from that direction, because she did, I don't want to say boss you around, but she did tell you what to do.
Yeah, she gave me great insight. I think as a new agent, and we're going to talk about joining a team, I think joining a team is instrumental because you waste so much time trying to figure it out by yourself, And
you've stayed on the team.
Yeah.
You've stayed on the team.
Yeah.
What do you like about being on a team?
One, I think, when I was a new agent, I think the knowledge and experience that I had, right? So there's 20 plus years of experience with Jackie Mack and other agents on our team. And it's like, if a client had a question that I didn't know, I'm not someone that's going to say some random thing. Because I mentioned, I never want to be sued in my life.
Yeah, I'm so with you.
So
we call it risk management. That's the fancy name for it, but yes.
Yeah, so I want to make sure that I give you, the correct answer. And I had Jackie Mack and other people in the office to refer to, if I had a question that a client gave me. And that's also what I love about it. There's 5 steps to purchasing a home or, selling a home, but it's every client's different. Every question is different. So even with that, it's I can come back to my team and, even with people who've been in the business for so many years, they learn something new every day because clients ask different questions and you're in different situations. So I love that. So I love the knowledge. I love the support that we have. If we want to go on a trip, we communicate that with our clients and they're okay with it. They want us to travel. They love that. But they just know that we have support in the back, right? So I went to Italy for 2 weeks last year and I just, we have, I think, 4 agents on our team. And I was just able to ask our agents, and can you handle, Kristen for a couple of days? Can you take over Max's show and if something happens? So that support that they have and offer us, and I offer back to them, is huge.
So how big is the team?
So we have Jackie Mack as the head honcho. We have myself, Kristen, Bronson, and Laura as agents under her. Then we have 2 operations managers. They're both virtual. One in the Philippines, Sheila, she's awesome, and then Ashley, who was actually in the area, but she moved back to her hometown because she had little babies. She wanted extra support with her family. That is
so amazing to me that we are having virtual people who work with us from the Philippines and across the world.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yes. And that we've learned to do that work. I mean, that is one good thing COVID taught us. They taught us how to work virtually.
Yeah. Yes. I love that.
So it's not a huge team.
No, not a huge team, but,
Do you want to lead your own team one day?
I do, yeah.
You do?
Yeah, and I even told Jackie, but I think for now, I'm okay right now. But I know at some point I do, and I think we kind of build a team together, and kind of having that experience under my belt is going to be huge because it's really a business, right? So we have a mission statement. Every year we go on a retreat and look back. What did we do well? What can we do better? We even have a word of the year to kind of a word of the year to really focus on. Right.
So now I have to ask you, what's your word of this year?
My word of this year is yes. Right. So
I like that.
I'm coming up on 5 years, and I don't want anything to really hold me back, and I'm just I'm going to go for it. So that's a really good thing to kind of keep top of my mind as I approach this year.
What's your biggest challenge? What do you struggle with the most?
There's also certain small things that I do in my day to day where I want to stick to it on a time blocking to really grow my business, so I can do a little better there, to be honest, and upfront with it. But other than that, I think...
I'm going to tell you, if you are even thinking about that, you're doing better than most.
Yeah.
About doing time blocking. You're doing better than most people are, who are just living willy-nilly lives.
Thank you.
So you're doing okay.
I think structure is important, especially in this business, because, again, when you start, there's so many different avenues. Where do you go, And right now, just trying to keep my clients calm in this market. That's really the biggest struggle.
You're working mostly with buyers or sellers?
Right now, I'd probably say 80% buyers, 20% sellers.
What do you find from when you started 5 years ago? Because it's a short span of time.
Yeah.
But we had a big event come in the middle of that short span of time.
Yeah.
What are you finding different between the buyers who were pre-COVID and the buyers now? Are they different?
It's funny because when I first started, I had no business, but I also had the business of our team where I could kind of learn and do activities. And buyers, for example, had the pick of their choice. They didn't need a rush to find a house. They didn't need to make an offer before they saw the house. They could come back to the house 2 or 3 times to make sure it was the right house for them.
Oh, I remember those days.
Yeah, it was nice for them, and they were at ease, right? Post 2020, the limited inventory. You have to do so much. You have to give up a lot just to win the house. And for me, the biggest things for me with my clients is setting expectations. So, and my niche really is with first-time buyers on the buy side. So I tell them, you're going to lose probably 3 to 4 offers before you get it. One, that's because it's a lot of money, right? It's their first purchase. And you feel like, why do I need to give up so much? Like, why do I need to do it as is? Why do I need to bend to their timeline? Why do I need to waive the inspection? I never have them waive the inspection, but that's just something they look at.
People are doing these days.
Yeah, so you don't really have the option of homes you want. You can't really afford the home you want. You don't have the time to really, feel comfortable enough to really, find the one you like. It's really getting there at an open house. If you think you like it, make an offer, right? Make an offer before you get into the open house. So it's just a lot of pressure.
This is a different market. This is a market from, this is a so fun experience to have, and let's go buy a house, and won't this be fun?
Yeah.
And I'm so excited about this too, like, I'm in the race of my life, and every minute counts.
Yeah.
That's an entirely different kind of mindset that you're working with clients.
Yeah. But again, I set the expectation of what they should expect in this market. So when it does happen, it sucks. But I told them.
Yes.
I'm not someone there that's going to be like, oh, it's going to be perfect and easy. We'll find a house. It's fine. I got to be honest with you. My job is not to be, make sure everything bends to your nature, right? I have to really show you the path and make sure you understand what's coming.
So, you being on the team, what other things are you doing to build your business?
Yeah.
Sort of not in. I mean, I understand you're under the umbrella of the team, but you're building your own business too. What else are you doing to build your business?
Yeah, I think another part of it really is networking. So I started a BNI group. So BNI is basically, let's just say there's 20 chairs, but there's only one profession per seat. So I'm the only realtor. We have a lender. We have a photographer. We have a insurance guy. So we meet once a week, and we're really, instead of going to a networking event where you collect 20 cards and it's like, you may never talk to them again.
Yes.
You're really developing relationships with these professionals, and the goal is to give and gain business, right? So I also have people in that group where it's like, okay, if a client needs someone, hey, I have someone that I trust, here's Ralph's name, all this kind of stuff. And then social media, I've done seminars as well. I'm actually getting back into that with buyer and seller seminars. And really
are you having a lot of success with that? I know people have, it's sort of a hit or miss deal.
I did when I first started, and again, I wish I stuck to it. Because then it would be way more fruitful. But I'm going to go back to it and really stick to it. So my plan is to do a buyer seminar once a month, alternate to a seller, and back and forth, and then really, really stick to it. Again, it's like everything. It starts slow, but if you stick to it, it'll really gain traction.
Okay.
Yeah, and just really working my spear. I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of new agents come into the business and they're like, where do I get business? Do I go and get Google leads or Zillow leads? Do I pay for a lead? And I think, especially like me, like you're $3-4 grand underwater when you first start with all the fees.
Easily.
Yeah. So why do you want to spend money to make money right now? Like the best way to make profit or really gain traction is to really work your sphere of influence, because they're the people that know, like, and trust you, right? Even if your cousin probably can't buy a house right now, you keep in touch with them. Your cousin might know someone, right? Even if your best friend is going to rent right now, you do a good job with a rental, their aunt might need to buy or sell a house, right? So really working that sphere is influential. I don't think you should spend any kind of money on leads when you first start. It's a waste of money.
It's my advice to most new agents.
Yeah.
I can tell them a lot of things. I tell them to stop spending money is what I tell them to do. Stop spending money, and everybody is going to send you emails promising that they will make you $1 million if you just send them money, and stop. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yes, in the beginning. In the beginning, it's just you've got to ask for business over and over and over again.
You got to ask for it. You have to
business.
be upfront.
This business, I'm kind of curious about the business group. How did you organize it?
So it came from Jackie Mack. So she was
okay.
She started the BNI group, I think 2015 or so. But there's a fee to it, so that's the commitment to it. So you can join, but there's a yearly fee, or you can pay for 2 years to really show you're committed to it, and you have to be there every single week, or else you're out, right? So she wanted me to start that when I first started, but I'm like, I don't want to spend money.
Okay.
So I waited until I had a good enough traction, and I think I started it with a lender and financial advisor and an insurance guy. Was it last January?
Okay.
Yeah, it took a while to build because, again, you want to have those people who are good at their job, and we want to make sure it's a good group with good synergy. We don't want to just bring anyone in just to bring them in to get numbers. So, it took a while to get there, but we're doing great, and I love it.
Is there a time limit for the meetings? Are you really thinking about the time limit?
It's structured.
Okay,
so
that's what I was asking.
It's structured. So basically, the first part of the meeting is networking. So we're virtual. So you could either be virtual or in person.
Oh, okay.
So we meet. It's just convenient for us. So we're midday. We meet at noon on Wednesdays every week. The first 15 minutes we network in breakout rooms, and then we come back to the main group. We basically go through. We have a networking topic that we talk about to kind of just enhance how you can get the best out of the group, and then we do our intros. Talk about who we are, our ask for the week, and then we pass it on to the next person. So again, ask for the week could be, I have a buyer in Bridgeport who needs a 2-flat. Do you know anyone? Do you know a seller who, or someone who might need to sell where their kid just moved out, and they're empty nester. So just being very specific on your ask.
I was going to say that's an interesting thing as well, to be very specific in the ask, because people don't think about, unless I'm the one who's thinking about buying a house, I'm not really thinking about all of those people that you just mentioned.
Exactly.
So to be very specific about it, asking about stuff like that, I think is a good idea.
It's huge. And then we go to our presenter of the week. So I think I might present maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So my presentation was on how can you identify a client based on certain situations for me, right? So an example I used was, there was a renter in the city. They just had a kid. They just got engaged, and they live in a 500 square feet apartment, and they also work from home. Do you know someone who might, need extra space? Obviously.
Right.
And then I give them questions to ask. Do you have a realtor? Have you thought about moving? Are you guys going to, buy a house together? All this kind of stuff. So being very specific on what to look for. And then we kind of talk about our numbers. We introduce our visitors. We try to get visitors every week to grow the group. Again, the more people you have in the group,
the better.
The more you expand your range. So it's huge. It's huge.
How much have you found social media to be useful?
Huge. I think for me, especially with Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, they're all different platforms, so I kind of approach them differently. But Instagram is probably my number one, and I use that really as a billboard for myself. So if you go on my page, there's rarely anything where I post under contract, just listed, just sold. I might put that on my story, but really, I use my Instagram as a billboard. So when someone comes to my page, I can scroll and kind of see a little bit about me, personally, professionally. I use my stories about every day to kind of either post what's going on in my business, funny things. I'm a super sarcastic guy, so I go with that approach sometimes. I post my gym life, when I'm on the Stairmaster and I'm dying and I want to leave. So it's a really good way for me to kind of stay in front, and I've started with videos as well. And those videos are impactful. I've posted a couple, and 3 months later, I have somebody come up to me hey, I saw your video, and it really, put it in perspective for me. So it's really huge.
So it's working.
Yeah.
Do you like doing it?
I love what I do.
Now I want to specifically know about social media. Then I'll ask you for the big picture. Do you like doing the social media?
Yeah, I love it. It's convenient. It's easy. And again, it's a good way to just stay in front of people and just make sure that they know what you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you, so let's ask the big question now. Do you like your job?
I do.
Because you didn't like the corporate job. I could tell that.
Yeah, I love my job just because I started when I was 22, 23. And a lot of people, especially nowadays at that age, they don't know what they want to do, and they feel like they're often like behind in life. You know, if every year they get older, they're like, oh my God, you know, they're looking on Instagram. That's a little negative there. They go on social media and they see people excelling, and they're like, I'm so behind in life. Like with my social media, I post a realistic life. Like every day is not perfect. You know, I post about my anxiety, all this kind of stuff, because again, I'm 20 something. I'm also going through life and growing. But just going back to people who are younger, they don't know what they want to do, and I'm glad I found a job and purpose in life, because I'm really helping someone with a big step in their life. You know, it's their first apartment, which is exciting. They're buying their first home, which is exciting. They're selling their family home, which is, you got to be very empathetic about that. So I love that I can help someone do what they're already going to do, but make it more efficient. You know? Mm-hmm. I love it.
What advice do you give someone who's brand new? Well, let's end with this.
Yeah.
Tell me, so you came in and you were brand new and you started as really young.
Yeah.
Tell me, if I was coming in at 22, right, straight out of college, what would you tell me to do?
Well, one, going back to it, join a team.
Okay.
Interview multiple brokerages. I did not do that, but I found the home that makes sense for me.
Okay.
Because even though they're interviewing you want to make sure you ask the right questions. Like, do they train you? Right? What are the fees? I think training is huge for any brokerage. I was going to say
more than the fees. I think I want to know what they're going to train me to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Because a lot of companies, they're happy to have you.
Yeah.
And that's what they have, is they have you.
Yeah.
No, I have to also be able to say, and here's what we will do for you, especially if you're brand new.
100%.
Okay.
Even with that, approach it with branding, right? So you're a new agent. You want to make sure the brand you align yourself with is known, has a good market share, and really they'll support you. So that's huge. The next is try not to spend money, right?
I do like that one very much.
So coming to this either knowing that you have a good amount saved up, 6 to 9 months, because you might not make money the first year or so. So really have that extra support behind you.
Okay.
And then, or even in that sense, like if you're going to be a part-time agent, just know it's going to be difficult to handle both situations. Because again, I was working from 9 to 3 in the office, and I would go to my part-time job from 4 to 11. I did that for about a year or so.
Oh, that was hard.
Yeah, it was hard, but I knew that up front, right? So, but I also didn't want to, use all my savings, so I had to have some money coming in there. So just plan for that. And really the next thing is just have a good mindset. I think the number one thing outside of structure is mindsets and ritual. And I think if you don't believe in yourself, you will not go far. I think, again, if you look at other agents who've been in this business for 20 plus years or so, like they have the business and it's great, but don't compare yourself to them. I think there's ways to kind of follow what they did, but make it your own. But also, again, don't be like, oh my God, I'm not there yet, right? Just really be patient with yourself, be consistent, find good habits, find someone that's going to teach you good habits, and just stick with it. Let someone told me to stick with it, and you'll be fine, and it's true. So consistency
counts. 100%. Been one of my big things these days. Consistency counts.
Yeah. 100%.
Anyway, Travis, thank you so much for coming today. This was a pleasure. I appreciated and enjoyed meeting. I really don't know you very well, so this was a real pleasure for me. Thank you very much.
We gotta get lunch. Yeah.
Thank you.